I'm Matt Braunger. This might help.
I am not a doctor.
This might help.
I'm not a professional.
Let's have fun. This honestly is a good time.
Honestly, I got no idea what I'm doing. What's going on? Who are you?
I'm Matt Braunger. This might help. The podcast.
Hey, welcome to This Might Help with Matt Braunger, the entirely tongue-in-cheek advice podcast. I don't know why I chose an advice podcast. I just know it's fun. Listen to these anonymous messages with people I enjoy. But as I say at the beginning of every podcast episode, in recent memory, if you need clinical help or you need real help, this ain't it. But if you just have, I'm on the fence about something, or I just need to spit something out, we're here for you. But this is for fun. Can't stress that enough. Couple dates coming up. I will be in Nantucket, August 20th. Pittsburgh, Nantucket, August 19th. Pittsburgh, August 20th. I will be in Sacramento, August 26th. I will be in Reno, Nevada, August 27th. Chico, California, August 28th. And Berkeley, California, August 29th. With Irene 2, we're doing day beers and the bay beers, baby. It's going to be a 3 o'clock show, afternoon. That said, bullshit out of the side. Let's get to the meat of the steak. I have a good friend with me, a very, very funny comedian who has become known for impressions recently, but I also always knew as a very funny stand-up in their own right. You have these people who are famous for impressions and they're online and they're great and all that jazz, but they don't do stage and they couldn't do stand-up to save their lives, which is not to say you need to, but it's good and it makes you cooler. That said, I have James Austin Johnson with me. James, how are you, buddy?
Hey, Matt, how you doing?
I'm good, man. How is life? Tell me something about yourself.
You know what? My wife is, I think, in her 19th week of pregnancy at this moment. Nice. And we're so excited for the monster. Still looks like a monster. Doesn't look like a human yet.
Yeah, they retain the monsterdom well into. I mean,
it's gonna stay a monster.
Mine is 2 weeks from being 1 year old. And as I talk to you, I'm sitting next to a cage that we have built in the living room full of toys. It looks like an octagon. And I just put her down. We were on the East Coast for a month, and this is our second day back, and I just put her down for her 9 a.m. nap, and it's just fingers crossed that it takes. That it's not, she doesn't go, wait, no, it's 6 a.m., fuck this, I'm done. And my wife is on a conference call, so it's just like, well, I don't hear her screaming, so she seems chill. And it seems like I think we're good. I think we're out of the woods. But it is.
How old is your child?
She's 2 weeks from being 1.
And that's your only child?
That's it. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so everyone keeps telling us that when the baby comes, they just sleep 20 hours a day. You can take them with you to Dave and Buster's. It's gonna be fine. You can take that carrier straight into an M. Night Shyamalan movie. Sure. That'll be fine.
Yeah.
It sounds like you have just left the zone where it's fine. And now the baby is like, instead of 20 hours a day, I'm asleep, 20 hours a day, I'm awake and screaming.
It's not. She's actually incredibly chill to the point where we were only going to have one, and we still are. But it was like, she's so great that it's like, we feel like we got all the luck for the two of us. Like, we got another one to just be like a demon boy who would sleep. Because she sleeps 12 hours a night, and during the day takes 2 at least hour-long naps. So it's not 20 hours a day, but she's real chill. My therapist, Alan, was just like, take the baby everywhere. Just go. And it's like, so we do. We take her all over the place. If I run an errand, I go to the car wash, I take her. They're just entranced by everything around them, and then they nap. So it's kind of like, and she hasn't been. We flew 6 hours yesterday, and she was persnickety, but it was also this. It wasn't this thing of put me on the ground, but it was just like a constant kind of a cry whine because you didn't know what to do or feel when she wasn't napping. So it's kind of, to us, it was annoying, but like people around us were like, that's nothing. And I'm like, yeah, I've been on planes where it just sounds like this kid's on fire. And it's like, I don't know what to do,
Oh, yeah. I mean, well, planes are literally microwaves. I mean, like you get in them, they're designed to like the radiation that comes from being in the sky
right
very, very high. Like pilots and flight attendants have high cancer rates because
Yeah.
they're literally sitting on a defrost cycle
Yeah.
in a
Oh,
Honeywell
God.
microwave all damn day.
Yeah.
And babies who are super sensitive to everything, to a bright light, they're hung over at all times. So like,
Right. Totally.
I would think that if a baby wasn't just like so asleep that they couldn't tell that they were being, lightly roasted and braised
Mhm.
in a stranger's floating spit,
Yeah.
I'm sure that she had that little like whatever that I have the same thing. Like you feel something in the center of your head, like I'm being cooked.
Yeah.
You had that little headache, that little tiny headache.
And you always feel a little shittier after every flight.
Oh, you always do.
Oh, like that's why when I'm on a flight, I'll have like a coffee and I just chug water. I bring a huge thing of water.
Oh yeah,
on
you
with
have
me.
to.
Just keep flushing, which fascinates me. Like, I do love a drink on a plane because it's just like it's pure douche, it's pure shitbirdery. It's
Yeah,
pure,
it
like
is.
I'm so gross, but I'm always fascinated by the people I see early in the morning as the bar's open,
Yeah.
getting a strong
Yeah.
7 p.m. drink at 7 a.m. And people that just push it like it's their birthday on a flight. Like,
Yeah.
I'll often get kicked upstairs to first class because I travel so much, and it'll be like no matter what time. It's 6 a.m. at Bloody Mary. Like,
Yeah.
what's the rest of your day, man? How are things gonna feel come noon?
Matt, I am one of these guys. I am
You're
so
young.
well, okay, sure, fine. But like I have trouble with turbulence. I love everything about
Oh,
flying. I love travel. I love being a comedian, and I love being alone in a city, and I love all of that.
Sure.
But when it bounces, I'm
Oh, sure.
such a wimp. My heart rate skyrockets. I have
Mhm.
trouble moderating it. I should be on some kind of pill. I haven't taken that step yet. But I drink the shitty red wine that they offer you. And it's probably the worst. It's the best alcohol for the turbulence,
Right.
and it's the worst alcohol for the inside of my body. Probably
Well, it's better than some. It's probably
it's
better,
better
than,
than some.
probably better than a big rocks glass of brown liquor,
Yeah.
which I often see because it's like that's the manly stuff, right? That's what men drink.
But it
No.
also it like jacks you up. It's like
Yeah, it does dry you out, and the tannins are kind of rough. But I have a friend who can't get on a beer without on a plane without like 5 beers in him. Like
you almost said a Groucho Marx one liner.
yeah,
I can't get on a beer without a plane.
without 5 planes in me. Yeah.
I'm really that guy though. I'm the douchey guy, and
I don't see that as douchey. I think some people just do it because of either like physical need or more often than not because you can.
I think so.
It's just the equivalent of like that. There's money sticking out of that lady's purse. I gotta take it. It's right there.
Right.
That's her money. Yeah, but I can do this, and it'll make my life better.
You think I want that Sutter Home little bottle? You think I want that, Matt? No, I don't. That is the wine that they have.
Yes.
That is and much less it's
Free
like
in Comfort Plus, Matt. What am I supposed to do? I don't have a choice here. It's
just switch
free.
to Delta. I'm doing Delta for the rest of my life.
Same, dude.
Worth
I've been
it.
doing it for like 10 years.
Worth it.
Hands down the best.
Southwest, what a disaster. Delta.
I will say if you're going to Vegas on the cheap, Southwest is mwah because the flight is 10 minutes long and you just choose your seat. Don't care. Put your headphones on. Say fuck it and get there. Like I will say, people that are like, I fly first class always to, and pay for it to Vegas. Like why? You blink and that flight's over. They don't even get. It's just like they're like, how's $1,000, but worth it. I'll take a cocktail. There's no service, sir. We don't have time.
You're like watching the trailer. You're watching the trailer for the 4 Mindy Project episodes they have, and then you're like, all right, now beginning our descent into Las Vegas.
And there's nothing to indulge in because Marvel pulled all their movies. Like it's just all the plane movies are gone.
Yeah, they're gone.
There's no Creed anymore. I've watched Creed like 4 times on a plane.
Matt Dillon is in this. It's like movies with people that haven't you don't see in movies all that often.
Oh, I watched a movie on I've never seen with Diane Lane, or never heard of, excuse me, Diane Lane and Kevin Costner. It's set in the like early 60s, and their grandson gets kidnapped by some like rockabilly gypsies, basically, and they try to take him back, called Let Him Go. I'm like, when was this made? Who was this, a dare? I've never heard of it. Was this made for the airlines?
A Britney Murphy movie made in 2021.
Hold on.
It's like actors that aren't.
Yeah, it's all found footage. And they're calling it a movie. This person's just taking a bath. What is this? This isn't a movie. This is dumb.
Oh,
okay,
man.
we got to get the calls first.
Okay.
In a second. But let me just see. Like I'm sure you get this all the time. But when I first saw, I'd seen you do stand up, and we did a short film together. But like I'd never seen you doing impressions. Were you always good at like aping how other people talked and stuff growing up, or?
Yeah, I mean, I did. I would try to do that. I think if you are one of those kids that like sees SNL or something, then you think, well, I have to try everything that comedy is. I think from the earliest age, I was like attempting to see what each comedy thing was and seeing where I fit in that, because I knew I wanted to be a comedian. Like, but I think that the impressions are probably before anything, because you can do an impression before you understand how a joke functions. I mean, that's complex.
That's true.
First impression, there's video of my parents like putting sunglasses on my head when I'm like 2 or 3, and they say do Stevie Wonder, and then I'm like,
okay, sure.
So
sure.
A little insensitive, but whatever. He's a 2 or 3. Hey, try and cancel this 2-year-old, huh?
Right. Well, and Eddie Murphy started it, so
Eddie Murphy started it. Come on.
Yeah.
And then let's see. I put on my first show. I was like shirtless with a white blazer on from Easter, and I made all my like family go into the living room, and then I just did the trailer for Jim Carrey's The Mask. I just did it for them, and I remember that going, pretty well. It was a pretty good show that night. It was pretty good. I did pretty good. And I recently found footage of, I think the second time I legitimately tried doing stand up, it might have been at a school talent show when I was 14.
Okay.
And when the stand up stuff started, I was afraid. I was still, let's see, that was a teenager. I was afraid at that point to do impressions for people, because it is takes more commitment than the average stand-up thing. I mean, when you're first starting out in stand-up, and you still need people to see you not just as funny but cool, which is like the death of stand-up. I was afraid to do the impressions. So stand-up and impressions, that was never how I never really did stand-up by doing impressions ever. Yeah. Even though it's a thing I've done all my life for family and stuff.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things I do like that I don't know if we've completely left behind the whole comedy elitism. I think it's more, but it was something I definitely came into when I was in LA on every level, where you had the club comics and you had the alt comics, and it was kind of like I kind of had done both and like a lot of things, but it was like, I kind of wish I would have been a little more vocal about the bullshit of both of those things. Like, it's easy to do now.
Yeah, it is easier. The
world, you had Dane Cook bumping people and doing like a half an hour, and then you had people that thought you were shit if you didn't take a notepad on stage with you because you're trying, and it's like both of those worlds suck ass. And I'm not calling out, exactly. I did say one name, but I think who knows where that guy, what he's up to now, or how he feels now about it at the time, and maybe regrets it. But like, that said, I didn't like, so it's like, I wish I'm impressed by like younger comics who just immediately call it out these days. And I'm just, oh, good for you kind of thing. Because there was that thing where people weren't really doing impressions because it was like, oh, but that's hack, but it's not. You know what? Oh, Dana Carvey on SNL was hack.
What the fuck are you talking about? That's the funniest thing I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah, I used to go to school the next day and do that. I would do Dana Carvey. I did Dana Carvey impressions like I did his impression of Travolta in like a school assembly and killed.
Yeah.
And like, it's like I never would have done Travolta, but he found the things,
Yeah.
the way he talked, it was just like, it's great. So I don't know. I just
Something about the way that the world started spinning in the last like 5 years, it just made it clear like how things can get bad. Like I understand making it through like the craziness of the Trump presidency and then still being like, well, I need to be perceived as a cool dude. That's very important to me. I can kind of understand that, even though I think it's a little ridiculous.
sure.
But to make it through comedy being turned off for like 2 years, like
Yes.
live performance being clip, it's off.
Right.
If you still come out of that thinking I need to look cool for other boys, or I need to look cool for a girl to date me,
Yeah.
or something like that, guy to date me, whatever. If you need to look cool for other people after being shackled to your living room couch,
Right.
you need a therapist. You do not need to be performing.
Your goals suck.
Your goals suck. Like everyone should have come out of this pandemic the dorkiest, like Mormon dad smoking weed for the first time. Like you should be truly having fun every time you leave the house.
So you're saying this is my time. I've finally come of age.
This is it, Matt. Dye your whole head.
It is the time of the corny dad. Oh boy. I am like that anytime I smoke marijuana. Anytime I smoke drugs.
Dye your beard and start telling people you're 24 and your name's Maddie Braunger.
I should do my mother's maiden name, Maddie Bailey. It even sounds terrible. It sounds
start your whole career over.
Oh my God! And I just get on stage and smoke a joint, and I keep doing what I've always done when I'm high. I tell everyone I'm high.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm really stoned. The worst. Why? Why do people care? Why the fuck would they care?
You were you invited me to my first set after the comedy cataclysm, after the death of comedy.
Yes.
And
people
were so psyched for the Matt Braunger brand. It was the perfect entree back into it. And it forced me to bring my energy up to a level I hadn't in years, to the point that I demolished my throat. I screamed so much at your show singing in Eagle songs and stuff that I seriously couldn't talk for 2 weeks. It was so awesome.
I'm sorry, but I'm glad you felt that energy.
That's how it is. I mean, like, you gotta be silly coming out of this. So the impressions are, I'm in the zone of life and I've got the baby coming and stuff where I'm like, either I'm having fun or, I don't need to worry about, I'm married. I have a child coming.
I'm telling you, it takes so much pressure off. You still have those in the biz moments of panic and woe and
sure.
Am I doing enough? That never goes away, but it takes so much of the rucksack off you because you're like, I have something better to focus on than my stupid ass.
Yeah.
It's so true. Okay, we'll go to the first call, but what was I going to say? You were talking about coming out of, if everyone's not like a total dork. That's what it is. My mother years ago insisted I go to church with her here when she visited me in LA. I think when I first moved, I went to a Catholic church, and I grew up in a progressive church that was like, weird for Catholicism, but most of those churches are not like mine at all. And I wouldn't go to church anymore anyway, but my mom took me, and all the priest talked about was, well, some people are Buddhists, but we're not. We don't believe in that, do we? No, we don't. And some people are, we don't believe in that. No, we don't. And I'm like, I want to be the opposite comedian of that. I'm not this. We're not this. Right, guys? Like, what? Just fucking do your thing and stop talking shit about the other kinds. It's like, be the dork you want to, be in the world and see in the world. So,
man, that's like it was almost, I know this isn't one of those let's talk about religion podcasts, and that's okay. But it is really weird to hear a sermon like that. I come from a very, very Protestant background, and then it's like, the Buddhists, will get up there and they'll start preaching a nonviolent path to connecting with the gifts that God has given us. And that's not us, church, is it? That's not us, church. Now the Mormons believe that Jesus was God of this earth. That's not us, is it, church? That's not us, is it?
Wait a minute. Excuse, sir.
Now, Islam will tell you that Jesus was a great teacher whose teachings are valuable to every Abrahamic faith. Now, that's not us, church, is it? That's not us, church.
Hold on. Is there a question and answer period when you're done?
Now, the Jews believe in the entire Bible. That's not us, church, is it? That's not us.
I feel insane. Why did we come here?
Those other religions are so crazy with
They're all so dumb and unlike ours.
They're one true God and the guy who came and said, let's be nice.
Oh, the human race is the best. Okay. So we got 3 calls.
All right.
And I think, if you don't mind, start as someone else, okay, and then you and I will chime in with our right, let's say, real advice. Well, this is the first time we've done this. I just thought it'd be very fun.
But we'll try it.
Like I said, it's very loose. Most of the calls we get aren't that serious. So, but we'll see. So,
okay.
You can pick whoever you want to do. All right. Renee, roll the first call.
Hey, long time, first time. So I'm a guy in his mid-30s. I'm in the arts, and I've tended to, throughout my adult life, date women in the arts, like visual artists or writers, photographers. So my question is, I have a lot of art from the last 10 or 15 years, like paintings or sculptures or zines with like writings, or in one case, kind of like tasteful nude self-portraits. I have, as somebody in the arts, I guess, I have kind of a hoarder problem with art, where it's hard for me to get rid of stuff, either like giving it away or throwing it away seems really bad. And like, I don't know, I don't look at these things much, but I feel a strong urge to hold on to them, even though I, have no longer dating these people. But I don't know if, what would you do with kind of a pile of art that you have past connection to, but can't really seem to get rid of? All right. Well, take it easy. Bye.
Bobby Flay, and this might help with Matt Braunger, where each week we're going to listen to some big losers call in and leave us messages. Then round 2, it's your turn to tell us your stupid problem, and we're going to find out a way to incorporate that into a signature dish. So like I'm looking at all the stuff that the guy brought in, he's got, the stuff that, the self-portraits and stuff like that. I'm trying to figure out like, what we're gonna do. So, when I said the nude, I'm thinking that we start out maybe like going in the panzanella direction, get the panzanella, starting that up with some of that old ciabatta, chop up the ciabatta, get that in with some olive oil and the chili infused oil. We really start mixing it up and see what we can make out of this. Date a lot of 24-year-old women. I've been married a few times, date a lot of 24-year-old women. And, they're always leaving stuff over your house, iPad, the Kindle Fire and all that. So, I'm pretty familiar with those ingredients. It's a pretty good ingredient. Treat it well and get it out there. Get it out there and start mixing it up. And and then presentation. Presentation is always key. Marcus Samuelson's looking down at your dish. You really want. To look, it's a 5-star dish. I think it's a 5-star dish. Probably one of the best things I've made in this kitchen stadium.
Well, I love how you threw in the 24-year-olds because my wife and I were walking in the French Quarter
No.
at one point. No, we saw him walking down the street, dressed to the nines. He looked beautiful, amazing.
He looked like Roger Stone.
Kind of a little bit flashy, you know, a better fit younger man.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, you know, the tie pin, shiny tie, beautiful suit, beautiful tailored suit, and holding hands with a young lady. And we were like not arguing, but like I can't tell if that's his daughter or he's dating that one. You know, like just anybody's guess. That's why that, like when you said that, that flashed in my mind of him with a, you know, because it was a woman in her early 20s. Don't know.
Yeah.
Don't know.
I love it. Did they think that he's David Caruso? Did they get confused and think that he's like?
Does he do it? Does he do?
They think he's Horatio from CSI Miami.
Go out with me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, with the taking the sunglasses off thing.
When I lived with Kanane, we used to watch like old CSI Miami's, and there was some, they were taking on a Mexican gang, a cartel gang called Mala Noche, Bad Night.
Bad Night.
Yeah, and it's like you're dealing with Mala Noche. They know no fear now. If you like, just the new Shatner, like. I think if you make that kind of choice as an actor, you either are a star or you're never heard from again. And it's a bolt. It's like rolling the hard 8 at Vegas. It's either all or nothing. But
I heard him listing the ingredients left by women in his home, and it just made me think of there's two Bobbies. There's two Bobbies, and I even do this as a bit sometimes on stage where I'm like, here's the two ways that you do Bobby Flay. One is he's a regular guy, and I always say,
You know, I'm East Coast guy, Southwest flavors or West Coast attitude.
he's like this East Coast guy who grew up in kitchens. He dropped out of school early, and he has this like mumbly, not ready for TV way of speaking.
yes.
So when he's in like the Office style cutaway during Beat Bobby Flay, he's real shy. It's almost like Alvy Singer, where he's just like mumbling his words, and he's just like, oh yeah, you know, Iberico ham. You know, Iberico ham is one of the most expensive hams in the world. You know, you really want to treat it with the respect that it deserves. He's like not enunciating at all. And
it's almost apologetic. He's like, yeah,
it is.
Iberico ham. It's not. You know, it's.
And then when
little bit of that Woody Allen, what?
Yeah, it is. It's very Woody Allen.
Just a touch of that East Coast wine.
And then the end of the show when he inevitably wins, like he's never had like an acting class. They gave him one acting class, and he had an hour to do it, and then he had to bounce. So he took like one lesson, which was like smile, look into the camera, and scream like. Project to the point that your voice rises 3 octaves. So by the time he wins the Iberico ham episode, he's like, "Wake me up before you Iberico go."
Yeah, yeah. And then the camera swoops away, and it was like not a direction. The cameraman ran. He was like, "This is so bad. I gotta go, man."
So like when I do that character in my stand up, I just like write a bunch of like fake, awful Food Network shows that he throws to.
A bad sign off.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I'm Bobby Flay, and that's and stay tuned for my epic Miami Beach party boat redneck bakedown for shrimp dicks and smoking hot Christians, brought to you by Ice Age 28. Let's eat all the cavemen because the Ice Age creatures ran out of salad, and it's caveman chomping time.
Yeah. Food Network. God. Oh, well, to the matter at hand.
Yeah, do you think my Bobby Flay explanation helps this guy? I hope it does.
It's perfect. It nailed it. No, I mean, dude, I think change is good, and life is it's funny for you and me, James. My wife's therapist said, like, well, raising a child, you're in a almost sound brutal, but a constant state of grief because you miss how the kid was all the time, and it's true. Where I'm like, wait, when you were just laying on the ground all the time, and now you're basically trying to walk and stand against things. It's a thing. Part of you misses it, but it's a good feeling. But it's like the thing where it's like, it hurts to let go of stuff, but you have to let go of stuff. The past is gone. So if you have these drawings of exes and things, and you have a lot of them, first off, that's a little weird. But keep the ones you like, and I don't know, burn the ones you don't. I don't know. It's like you have to let go of them. They're just taking up space, and you're holding on to stuff that's not there anymore. And I think you're kind of hiding behind the auspice of it being art, if I'm honest, because you specifically said drawings or renderings of exes. That's, to me, those would feel like ghosts. It'd be like if I'm a married man and I still have pictures of ex-girlfriends in the house because I like how I look in that picture or something. You know, like,
fellas, have you taken a trip through your iPhoto and deleted the sexy things you've been sent? Because you might want to do that too. It's the same thing. And this guy with the portraits, you can keep the ones that do not remind you of this person. And maybe they can have like the hint of it. Like, but if you got one that you connect with on a personal level that goes beyond your relationship with that person, I think I might even have a couple of those items where I pick it up, and then if I look at it for a good 3 hours, I'll remember who gave it to me or something like that. But it's just a thing in my house that I like. So there might be one or two that you actually connect with.
Sure.
But you know what I mean? So the ones that you don't like, what do you do? It'd be like keeping someone's underwear or their keys. Get it out of your house. It's a Horcrux.
Yeah. If you had a thing where it was like too many pieces of art and you weren't sure what, like it was just art, but the fact that you mentioned X is, a little odd. Okay, so let's hope that helps. Let's go to the next call.
Hey, Matt and prospective guests. I don't know. I'm kind of behind. I haven't caught up on the podcast yet. I was going to wait until I did to do this, but it's weighing heavy on my mind. It's almost 11 o'clock at night, and I need to just say this, I guess. My best friend, I've known her for a really long time, and I've known since day one that I've had feelings, and they're deep, and I've expressed them, and they're a lot. And it's not just some kind of like puppy love thing where like I'm in love with the idea of her. Like every time we hang out, something new, something tiny shows itself, and I just fall in love with them again, more and deeply. And
You got this one a few times.
they've said that they're not interested, but there are times where I guess it seems like that might not be true, or maybe she's in denial, and I know I should probably listen to what she says, but I can't help but have this feeling in the back of my mind that she's just scared. We've been through a lot, good and bad, and I can understand why she would be reluctant, but I don't know. I try to express these feelings in ways that are still beneficial to the friendship, but it's just, I don't know, man. I don't know what to do. I don't want to lose my best friend, but this feeling just won't go away, and I'm having a really hard time ignoring it. My name is Sam, by the way, from Tennessee. But yeah, just whatever advice you got, I'd love it. Thanks.
You know what's amazing is you ever meet a guy who he likes someone and then they don't want to let him do it, and then he doesn't get to do it, and then you still have it and it's bad, but you let the guy, and then the guy wants to stay and he wants to be there, and nobody wants it to do it. So what do you do? So what I would say to this guy is that if someone doesn't want you to do something, you just do it anyway, and and then you are just you suffer the consequences, and you just deal with it. And I think and nobody's gonna care. Nobody's gonna care eventually, because they'll remember that you're genius and that you changed everything by being the last true philosopher of stand up, and my wife is a dick.
Thank you.
How was that?
Thank you, Louis.
How was that? Does that help? This guy reminds me of a friend of mine who, when people wouldn't reciprocate his feelings, he maybe let it go a little bit too far.
Yeah.
And, maybe did some stuff that in some places would be considered a crime or something like that.
Sure.
But maybe this guy in Tennessee is such an electric thinker and such an important artistic voice,
right,
that maybe this woman will just forgive him expressing his feelings or expressing his, other modes of expression. They'll completely forget about it. And he'll continue he won't be able to advertise where he's performing.
Right.
Or whatever, or where he's living. I'm talking about this guy in Tennessee. But
right. Sure.
He'll be able to wink and hint to maybe his email newsletter people, where he's gonna be.
And to be fair, he is just in love with someone, and it's like,
he's just in love with someone.
But I will say, it's like, dude, Sam, we get this one a lot. This is very common, and the thing is, if you're feeling that strong, you got to lay it on the line and be like, just listen to the song "It's Now or Never" by Elvis, and say that, but not in Elvis wanted to get laid. Not in terms of Elvis. Do it in terms of love me or leave me. You have to. You're a puppy dog hanging on. It hurts. Don't let just be like, look, if you're hiding something, I need you to tell me. Maybe we should watch this movie. It's called Chasing Amy. I hear it's good. And I just, but yeah, it's just got a fucking.
My man's got Criterion problems, man. My man's got Criterion collection problems, man.
Trying not to get A24 problems. Those.
I feel for this guy. I've been in this position before where you have either a woman who emotionally is everything that you've ever dreamed of, or you have a woman who you think it's emotional, but you just would like to have sex with this person. And they don't. And I've been in this position before, and looking back on those times when I was a pining person, I was pine scented.
Mm-hmm. Of course.
And then looking on the current version of life, where at one point I ended up falling in love with someone who was in love with me.
All right, cool. That's nice.
Of the two experiences,
right?
I'm gonna pick, the woman who feels that way about me, because that's the stuff,
Yes, that's the stuff. That's the magic, and that's the goal. And like, I think your friend is perhaps being unfair by kind of letting you hang around when you've made those feelings known. And I think they like maybe the attention, and they like having you around. I think you just have to go, I got to be strong. Like, I don't know, I draw this corollary, but anytime when I was a kid and I got in a fight, I usually would shed tears, but I would still fight. You have to kind of put yourself out there and go, even if you're like, I'm sorry that I'm being like this, I'm going to go. Yeah. You got to pick me or not, and then drive away. And I'm being cartoony about it, but it's like, you just got to barf it out. And when she calls you and says, I don't want to be with you, you have to be like, have a nice life.
Yeah.
It's like, because it's just not going to be good for either one of you. You're picking the safe route, and it's an unhealthy safe route. You're choosing to stay in a job you don't want. So don't do that.
Don't occupy that role in this person's life. And like, if you're truly like best friends, like the relationship will survive. Maybe it'll be weird for a year.
Yeah.
But 1 out of 100 years, 99% of the time, y'all are good. So I think that you should just, and also there are these people, Matt, I have found that when I did do the confessing,
Right.
and the friendship ended, that was a good thing. We weren't good enough friends. Like that is good to have.
Without a doubt.
And then the ones where you like do remain friends or it weathers,
right?
It's often not the confession that is what changes the dynamic of the relationship. It's some other life stuff. So I basically am just trying to be like, hey, dude, push yourself out of your misery. Find someone who adores you, who's like putting on movies and being like, you know, not to be all gender rolesy, but usually when a woman comes on to you and is like, we should be married, that's a pretty hefty signal that she likes you.
Yeah.
I'm saying, what I'm saying by that is you're putting it all on you. Like you are going to single-handedly carry off a 2-person relationship. That's too big a burden. That's not how these things happen anyway.
Yeah.
So just like get under that guillotine. Let her chop
Throw
off that head, man.
on your sword. Do the gutsy thing. You'll like yourself so much more down the line, and that means a lot. So
I guarantee you, there is a young woman at your weekly D&D tabletop thing or whatever you go to. There's a woman at the NHL box that you and your friends rent at your Cards Against Humanity group. I don't know what you do with your life.
Sure.
There's some woman who's every once in a while she whispers to her friend, his butt's looking a little tighter. I wonder what's going on there.
And that said, I will say Sam kept saying they, so I don't know the sex.
I heard of her. I heard of she.
You heard of her. Great. I missed it. And that's on me.
But we'll leave it open to they. Maybe he's cooler than me and he's pan.
Well, and let me just say, above all advice that we've said, I think the most important thing is I'm taping a special in Nashville October 3rd, and you should go, Sam, and just tell all your friends to get some tickets. Okay, we got time for one more.
That'll help.
One more call. Hope you'll be okay, Sam. Hang in there and do it. Caller number 3. Let's hear it.
I jack off like every day. Probably like, no lie, like 7 times a day.
Wow.
At least 3 times, like morning, and then during the middle of the day when I get bored, and then at night I'm about to go to sleep. But yeah, I'm so fucking horny every day. But I cannot, for the life of me, go up to a girl and ask them to fuck. I got all the libido, I don't know how you say that word, but none of the charm. Also, fuck. Yeah, that's it.
I am so glad I have my next guest to respond to that one. Sir, take it away.
Well, Matt, it's so wonderful to be calling into this. Might help is such, you do, Matt, you do such a wonderful podcast with Mad TV and with SNL and Stewart, with Stewart and Miss Swan. And I love your podcast. I mean, everybody's listening to it. They talk about it all the time. Frankly, we've never heard about a podcast that people like more. So it's so wonderful to call into probably the best one and to be able to speak to you, Matt, because, we love everything that you do, Matt. Frankly, we love everything that you do. And Up All Night, didn't we love Up All Night? But listen, this boy has a big trouble with his penis and with jerking off and the masturbating and everything. But you know what? You will get through this. We will get through this together, and it's very easy to get through it because the human body only has they call it a finite amount, and a lot of people didn't know that. I think I probably understand this a lot better than some of the sex doctors do. Probably better than Ruth, and better than all of them. Frankly, all of the sex doctors, and you know what? I'm very familiar with most of them, and I think I understand this a lot better. That the body really only has a finite amount of the semen. So eventually you will run out. You will no longer have any more. And I am praying for this moment for you because it's going to, you know what? We're going to be very firm with penis. We're going to be very firm with penis, and we're going to have a very strong conversation. Yeah, we had a wonderful conversation with testicles the other day. I told him we have to do something about this sex drive because with sex drive, it's killing us, frankly. It's killing us. We're not getting anything done. We're not being able to watch any movies because, a woman bends over in a movie and you've got to go take care of it. It's such a terrible thing that we've got with today's children. And they can get it all on their phones now. They can look it up and they type porn into Fortnite and then they can get onto it and they can look at all of it that they want. But with this young man, I told him, you know what I said? I know a place where they have some nice furniture. And they have the furniture where you can sit in it and you don't even feel about sex at all. You don't even feel about sex at all. You're too busy. You're in pain. So I say that we get him hooked up to one of these. It was a chair that shocked you every time you did something bad. They did it with Dahmer and they did it with a couple of the other boys. But I think if we could get him a special chair and anytime he thought about with jerking off, and it'll be in Texas. They have them all the time in Texas. They do it a lot in Texas. No. And we just hook him up to the chair in the courthouse and they put the little hat on him. And you know what? We're just going to give him a little electric. They're doing electric with it. So I think this would be a wonderful solution. And we said, suppose we could bring the electricity inside the body. I think that would be a wonderful thing to do for this young man because he's got a big problem with boobies and with regard to sex and women. And we got to do something about all of the sex that's coming into our home. So I think we should kill the guy. Frankly, I think we should kill him.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Matt.
Thank you, Matt. And he's holding onto a rope ladder as a helicopter zooms away,
which he's quite literally taped to. Because he's like the extent to try to look manly, like he's tearing ligaments in his legs and arms.
The helicopter's like tipping a quarter over on its side as it carries.
It kind of soft drags him into the grass behind something and just lays him neatly.
We can't get the altitude.
The guy lands and gets out, and Trump, like out of earshot, screamingly fires him like that. Yeah. The voice we never hear is like where those stories where a person leaks that he lost his mind when it came out that he hid in the bunker. Like, who leaked this? Angry.
You're killing me on helicopters. People are reading this. Who leaked that I was dragged for 400 feet by the rope ladder of the helicopter because it couldn't take off with my
pilot is like
generous bulk.
The tank only holds.
Jared is flying the helicopter because only Jared can fulfill like all of the jobs people are fired doing.
At this point, Jared is stepping in on jobs he never, like, he's going to kill himself, John Denver style. He's full on going to demand he fly a plane. Never try.
He's like Kirk from Gilmore Girls. Did you ever watch Gilmore Girls?
Yes.
He's Kirk from Gilmore Girls. Like Joe Biden comes in and Jared is like at the omelet station, like doing like a bunch of different pants, like. Joe's like, what are you still doing here, Jared?
Yeah.
Jared's like, no, I have to do the White House. Everyone was fired. Jared, get out of here.
Yeah, come on, man.
Jared, come on. Get out of here.
Jared, this is
Jared.
Yeah.
Jared.
I don't know what to tell this guy other than therapy. I don't have any expertise in sex addiction. I can let's go in. I could probably do 3 a day on a dare or something if I was winning a cash prize.
Right.
It sounds like painful. I mean, 7?
Going 3 times in one day sounds. I'm sore. Like my entire like body is sore. Like I just gave birth thinking about pulling that off.
Yes, and I don't. And it's that I mean, he kind of drew the correlation that like he has libido but not the charm. It's like, yeah, but it's not. People are definitely looking for the libido, but it's in no short supply when it comes to young men. It's not. That's you got to have a little extra. So it's other than that. So.
Well, he opened his phone call, which typically there's an etiquette to leaving a message or starting a phone call,
right,
where you say hello. I'm this person that you should be familiar with. I've got a little bit of a problem for you. And then, if this guy is walking up to young women at bars and being like, I masturbate 7 times a day.
Right.
So like some of that charm, I don't think you even need charm. I think you just need baseline human social etiquette.
You got to have
what I mean?
someone to talk to. I think you got to reach out, and if you really want to solve the problem, no, clinical help, man. Like,
yeah.
Get some aid so you don't have to pay for it. There are, ways to get through it, but it's like, yeah. I mean, he started and ended the call with the word "fuck," and it's like, all right, dude, I get it, but you need some personal growth. But I appreciate you, and God, it was nice of Mr. Trump to say all those things, despite how I personally feel about him. But that was
Matt, it's a curse, and it makes me feel weird that I can summon a voice that people feel in their amygdala and in their butthole at the exact same time. That doesn't feel good.
But I will say yours is the best. Like, I'll go on record. It's my favorite.
Thank you so
much.
much.
I should also say we got to wrap up because
right.
Yeah, but we did it. We're in the time frame. We typically do 45 minutes. We're almost at an hour. So before we go, thank you so much. You're a dear friend.
Thanks, Matt.
I appreciate you. And anything to plug?
I am going to be doing some shows in Iowa, Raccoon Motel and Codfish Hollow. I believe those are on September 10th and 11th. I may have gotten those dates wrong, but they will be up on my website soon. You can also follow me at Shrimp, JAJ, on Twitter and Instagram. And if you stick around on my Instagram for a few years, you will hear me and having all of the exact same environmental sounds that Mr. Matt Braunger is having right now, because my baby is due in December.
There you go.
And I will have a 1-year-old who needs my attention immediately very soon.
Congratulations, buddy.
Thanks,
always,
Matt.
if you need any help, or I got plenty from other people. So
all right,
one-on-one advice. But all right, dude, great seeing you, man.
Thanks, Matt. So much fun.
Well, that was so fun. I had to change my shirt. Anyway, we lost the connection. That's why I'm wearing something different. But that's the thing. You never know what kind of fun's going to happen on the show. If you want to call in, leave us a message. Call 323-763-0228. Again, 323-763-0228. And thanks.
This Might Help with Matt Braunger was created and hosted by me, Matt Braunger. Produced by Outer Circle Media. Executive producers Matt Kleinschmidt and Robert Kelly for the Laugh Button Podcasts.